This morning, we are following that incredible breaking news. 3 women who each vanished in their teens and early 20s about a decade ago are now at a Cleveland hospital where they are being evaluated and reunited with relatives. They were freed from a home just miles from where their abductions took place.
I think everyone let out a collective gasp when hearing this news. Dozens of friends, even strangers who have followed the disappearances for some 10 years, gathered there late last night, cheering and crying in amazement at the news. We want to get right to NBC's Kristen Dahlgren. She is at the house where all of this unfolded. Kristen, good morning to you.
Good morning, Savannah. Yeah, the type of happy ending that we don't hear often enough in these cases. Amanda Berry, Georgina DeJesus, and Michelle Knight all vanished about 10 years ago here in Cleveland. Then yesterday afternoon in this White House here behind me, a neighbor heard Amanda screaming. He helped her knock down the door. She escaped and was able to call 911.
Cleveland 911. Hello, please. Help me. I'm Amanda Berry.
You need police, fire, or ambulance?
I need police.
Okay, and what's going on there?
I've been kidnapped and I've been missing for 10 years, and I'm here. I'm free now.
Amanda Berry went missing 10 years ago, a day before her 17th birthday, while coming home from her job at Burger King. Berry had vanished, no one hearing from her until Monday night, when a neighbor heard frantic screams from inside a nearby house.
I heard screaming. I meet my McDonald's. I come outside. I see this girl going nuts, trying to get out of her house. I go on the porch, and she says, "Help me get out. I've been in here a long time." So I open the door, and we can't get in that way. We kick the bottom, and she comes out with the little girl, and she says, "Call 911."
Berry and the unidentified little girl weren't alone. Also inside the house were Georgina DeJesus, now 23 years old, who disappeared in 2004, and Michelle Knight, last seen more than 13 years ago when she was 20 years old.
There is so much the authorities have to do at this time trying to understand who was responsible.
I barbecue with this dude. We eat ribs and whatnot and listen to salsa music. You see where I'm coming from?
Yeah. And you had no indication that there was anything
bro, not a clue that girl was in that house.
The 3 women and young girl are now being treated at Cleveland's Metro Health Medical Center this morning.
Currently, they're safe. We're in the process of evaluating their medical needs. They appear to be in fair condition at the moment.
Family members and friends gathered outside the hospital, hugging and crying, showing their support for the girls they haven't seen for so long.
We love you, baby! We miss you! We'll be here with you, mommy!
Destiny Sneed says she's been waiting a long time to see her cousin Amanda again.
The whole time down here I cried, but now I'm just excited. I'm excited to see her, excited to hold her, excited to squeeze her, excited to tell her how much I love her, miss her.
And back live now, you can see the house where the women were held, the windows covered over. And neighbors here, you can see how close the houses are. They say they had no idea. They never saw any sign of the women or of the children. Now, 3 men are under arrest. We have that confirmed from Cleveland police. We believe that they are brothers, age 50, 52, and 54. We're told they're Hispanic, and police are expected to update us soon on the latest in the investigation, Matt.
All right, Kristen Dahlgren in Cleveland this morning. Kristen, thanks very much. Clint Van Zandt is an NBC News analyst and former FBI profiler. Clint, good morning to you. The first thing that jumps out at me, I look at Kristen and I look at the neighborhood behind her. This is a small house. This is a tightly packed neighborhood. And yet for 10 years, none of the neighbors say they noticed anything unusual here.
You know, we hear these stories again and again, Matt. You covered the story of J.C. Dugard in California, who was missing for 18 years, who was kept confined first in a backyard hut or a tent, and then a house where neighbors were on either side had looked over the fence, but no one necessarily had done anything about it. So it's amazing how one person, much less 3 or 4 now, as we're told, could have been hid in plain sight in this otherwise normal residential neighborhood.
Yeah, I mentioned you're a former profiler, FBI profiler. Let's talk about the possible suspect or suspects in this case. First of all, these women, these young girls, were abducted about a year apart. August of 2002, April of 2003, and then April of 2004. A pattern there, but then it abruptly stops.
Yeah, it's a pattern, and we know that authorities have arrested 3 men, as Kristen just reported, 3 brothers that about 2 years apart. One lived in the house, the other 2 lived in that nearby community. So what they're going to have to piece together, were all 3 brothers responsible? Did all 3 participate in the kidnapping? Did they have access to the women? There is so much to be determined, but what we know right now is that these young women were taken out of that immediate community, Matt. And why were they held for 10 years? Were they locked up in the basement, locked in bedrooms, or were there simply psychological chains put around these women that were stronger than any steel that could have put on them? We've seen victims where their parents, their family, their brothers and sisters, their pets have been threatened to be killed if they try to escape. We still have to determine all that in this story.
And you talk about those psychological chains and what awaits these young ladies now that they are free. What type of situation are they going to have to deal with in the coming weeks and months?
You know, it's like they've been carried away to some 3rd or 4th world country where they were exposed to little of what was going on around them, and now they have to be reintroduced all over again to their family, to society. We're told there were even young children inside of the house that may or may not be biologically related to one or more of these young women. So there is so much to be done. But, Matt, this is a victory. This is a positive story. These are the stories that, for you and I as parents and me as a grandparent, it scares us to death. And yet, for parents whose child is still missing, it gives them that one hope. Maybe my child someday will come home.
All right, Clint Van Zandt on this story out of Cleveland this morning. Clint, thank you very much.